Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Adam Everett Miller, editor of AE Tuts Plus. Now, today's quick tip isn't as much a tutorial as it is just something kind of fun that you might not be aware of. Today we're going to be looking at color, more specifically, hex value. If you didn't already know, hex value refers to that little string of characters that you sometimes see when you're picking a color. Now, I had probably seen this string of characters 1,000 times, and I knew it had something to do with the color you pick, but that was about it. Let's jump back for a second, just so we have a little context before we move on. God made us with 5 fingers on our hand. Well, that is, unless you're this guy. Anyway, we got 10 to work with. So, since the beginning of time, man thinks in groups of 10. 10 tens is 100, 100%. 10 100s is 1,000, and so on. And this is all good. But then computers came along. Now, computers like to think in groups of 8. And of course, we know that this is when the war between man and machines began. Alright, so knowing this about computers, we came up with the hexadecimal system, a number system based off the number 16, which is obviously 2 8s, so the peace treaty remains. Now, originally, they had used the Latin prefix and called it the sexadecimal system, but I think that offended some old people, so they just stuck with the Greek hexadecimal. You may not realize it, but you actually see this hexadecimal system all over the place. Okay, let's jump back into some familiar territory. If you want to write a number, you have 10 characters that we usually use. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then what? Well, then we put a 1 in the 10 spot, and we start back over at 0. Let's take a look at the number 627. You have 6 hundreds, 2 tens, and 7 ones. Okay, I know this isn't a kid's math lesson, but I wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. Now, let's do the same thing with the hexadecimal system. Remember, we're working with 16 now, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and of course, we have the same cutoff problem. Except unlike before, where we're trying to get to a 10, now we're trying to get to the number 16 with only 1 character. Well, I think it's time we bring in a little help from the alphabet. So we're gonna keep going and write A, B, C, D, E, F, bringing us to a total of 16 characters. Okay, it's starting to formulate a little bit. Then moving on, we'd add a 1 to the 16th slot, and then we'd start over in the 1 slot with 0. So bringing it back to color now, when you see those 6 characters, it's actually called a hexadecimal triplet. But for everyday use, we just call it the hex value. The hex value can be broken into 3 parts, R, G, and B. Now, you may notice that when you're in After Effects or in Photoshop, the color value is shown also in the regular tens way of thinking, maxing out with the value of 255. Now, this is showing the same thing, just probably a little easier to understand. So you may ask yourself, why is 255 the highest we can go with a color? I mean, 16 times 16 is actually 256, so shouldn't we be maxing out at 256? Totally legit question. And it could look a little confusing at first. The value 255, or FF in hex, can be compared to the number 99 when you're about to reach 100. It's just 1 less than what would be necessary to bump you over into that 3rd spot, the 256 slot. Now, color and hex value usually is referred to when dealing with HTML or CSS. But you have to admit, it's a whole lot easier to just copy and paste 1 string of characters when you're trying to match a color than it would be to try to take each channel's value independently. Well, I hope you found this video interesting. If you didn't, what the heck's your problem? No. All right. Well, I hope you found this video interesting. My name is Adam Everett Miller, editor of AE Tuts Plus, and I will see you soon.